Hello, welcome to Retro Toy Princess. I'm Allison Joy. Hello, and this is Lawrence, a punk with toys.
And I'm really big.
He's really big.
I wasn't expecting to be that big when it started.
Yeah, that's
Never that.
probably the
Never
first time
that big.
you've ever said that, right?
No, never been that big.
Never. There we go. We're not going to do this for the whole stream, but for now, while we're having our banter, this will work. So, welcome to Retro Toy Princess. We're going to color some G.I. Joe today with Lawrence. Lawrence, what are you coloring with?
With crayons, Crayola.
Crayola?
I have these that I found in my
Wow.
daughter's bin. I think I bought them when we split up. And my ex and I split up almost 7 years ago because there's two of them that have never been used. And then I have this one too. This one has the sharpener.
It's got a sharpener.
And this how often it's been used. That
Nice.
there's no shavings.
I remember in elementary school, whoever had the fancy box with the sharpener and the silver and the gold was like the shit on the playground. So congratulations. If we were in 1984 or whatever and this was the playground, we'd be like, oh my god, Lawrence has a sharpener. He's so cool. His parents really love him.
You know, it sounds really stupid, but I was looking at it last night when I went and found out, which let me say, when crayons sit in a bin that has been sealed for so long, it is one hell of a smell when you open it up.
Mm-hmm.
And matter of fact, I was smelling it all night while I was sitting up here doing other things.
Were you sniffing crowns?
For the most part. And this may have been the highest I've ever been.
But
I was just looking at it and I'm like, it's actually really a genius idea to sharpen the pen. And then you just open up the box and it just dumps out, which I'm sure most kids have probably done it over the kitchen floor and watch mom and dad, well, probably mom flip out. But this one didn't even have one shaving in it, so.
Not a one. My mom would get super crafty, and you remember those like the fancy graters that like stood up and there were two sides.
Yes.
She would get a box of crowns, and then we would grate them, and then we get like it looks like shredded cheese, but it was rainbow colored because it was all the crowns. And then she would be like, and now let's melt. We would warm it up in like the oven and like one of those glass Pyrex pie dishes, and then take it out, let it dry, and then you would get like a weird like hippie tie-dye bullshit nonsense, but it made her happy. And they weren't my crowns. She bought them specifically for that, so we didn't miss out on anything. So really, that's
what do you mean your crowns?
Crayolas. Yeah, I'm from the South. It's a word I can't say properly. Crowns. That's how you can tell somebody's from
crayon.
Yeah, right. Okay, so here's a trick. If you can't decide if somebody is from the South, ask them to say crayon.
I'm like, what the hell is a crown?
Well, that's the way you get around saying it without, because if I say crayon, it gets really southern in here.
Oh, you really, you emphasize the on.
Yeah, because it's southern, and crayon is... Crown is one of those words that bring it out. So you just say crown, or you call it by its proper name, Crayola.
But when you were saying crown, I thought that was maybe a term for like the end of it when it's just too small. Which then I'm thinking, your mom was willing to use a cheese grater that close to her hand.
Right? No. Crayola. And in the spirit, I'm using Crayola colored pencils so that we're at least same brand. Because that's what we do. All right. So yeah, let's start coloring and then we will just chat as we go.
Okay, I did warm up. I showed you earlier. I warmed up people with this one here.
Yeah.
As you can see, I did a really good job of putting in the red. The rest of it was already done for me when I printed it up. So
yeah. That was very good. I also warmed up.
See, that's very fancy. It's
very fancy, yeah.
But my daughter would love that because she loves purple, and there's a lot of purple in that.
That purple is Carrie Fisher's favorite color, so it felt appropriate to throw a lot of
I
purple in there.
I don't know one actor's favorite color.
Well,
That's
yeah, but that's you mean
stalkerish.
actually? I'm talking about Space Mom. That's completely it's a thing. So, so as you can see here in the middle, we are coloring Cobra Commander, Zartan, and Baroness. And Baroness here looks really happy for some reason. Maybe she's gonna go get some from Dustro later, or they just poisoned an entire school of children. You know. And she has those things that make her excited. So
Now I might be doing a little cheating because I brought
little,
up Cobra Commander
okay, fair,
and the Baroness
okay, cool.
and Zartan.
I don't have a Zartan or a Cobra Commander.
So, and I'm glad we didn't choose this one because then I would have had to bring up a lot more figures.
Right? You would have had to bring up Falcon. I've got my one little Baroness over here.
Falcon's not on here.
He's not? Are you sure?
That
I mean,
Shipwreck.
can you even tell him?
That Shipwreck. Not Deep Six. Wetsuit. Awful Duke. Lady J. Leatherneck. Which I thought was kind of weird to have him thrown in there, but
Yeah.
I guess it probably fits. And then version 2 Roadblock.
And there's only one Shipwreck. I'm very confused by this.
This
I thought
is
there was always at least 7.
there should be at least 8.
At least 8. Okay.
Well, I mean, 8 I got. I already had one, so it left me with a whopping 9.
9.
All right, so my crayons here, as you can see my daughter hasn't used them. She always used colored pencils, I think, more than anything. Probably because of the smell.
Well, it's, like pencils you sharpen and they get a better point and they last longer and they're more for adults than for children. But we don't shame anyone with the coloring utensils here. Not to their face on screen where it can be proven later it was done. But, you're fine.
So when you color, do you outline everything first?
No. So obviously you don't watch my shorts, is what we just determined.
Listen, I have a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah. They're 30 seconds or less, Lawrence. 30 seconds or I'm just saying. You should be, and 30 seconds or less I thought was your standard or something. So,
Dude, 30 seconds and the woman is happy I've lasted that long.
right.
Hence the reason why I am single.
Yeah, it explains a lot, actually. It's like reverse dominoes, 30 seconds or less.
Have you seen those driving cars that Domino's has now?
Are they Teslas that will murder you because they were programmed using Caitlyn Jenner's driving skills?
Dude, all I know is they have these free driving cars at times. I haven't ordered because I don't. Listen, I'm not that lazy. I get up and I go pick it up because you got it. Well, I guess you don't have to tip driverless cars. All right, so
that would be really awkward if you did.
Yeah, well, if you haven't watched Super Pumped on Netflix yet, it is about the gain for control of Uber and how it started, and it is fascinating. It is. It is fascinating.
Interesting.
All right, so do I get shamed if I trace and highlight things?
Okay. No, you color however you want. The concept of adult coloring is about the stress release. It's going to be pretty stressful if we make fun of you to your face. So quickly, I'm going to say hello to the chat. Hello, Giraffe. Good morning. Radical Toys. Good morning. Duchess. Lovely to see you. Lucha Johnny, who was here last week, popping in to say hi and hit the like for you. Good job, sir. Muriel, my friend. Going to the grocery store in a bit, but just wanted to say hi. Hello, Muriel. She'll be back with me in a few weeks. Probably like 2, so few, literally 2. Thanos, hello, Thanos Copter. Now that I've had to say crayon, now my accent is just going to keep slipping in today. I swear I would not speak with an accent today, but whatever. Whatever, governor. Anyway, so
So
I'm going to start with Cobra Commander's helmet. So, yeah.
so anyone that's saying good morning, where are you guys from?
I would assume they're on the West Coast with me. Like it's 11:14 a.m. and on Sunday that's still morning here. So,
Yeah, but there's some Canucks in here.
well, Canada has parts of it that are in the same time zone as like Dole should be in the same time zone as I am. I think
Yeah, but see, where are you from?
Oregon, Portland area.
I know where you're from.
Well, I don't know that Dole
I
is
sent
here.
you stuff.
I'm just saying Dole like is there. Like I doubt Dole is watching this morning. He's far too fancy and famous for us.
Oh, he's a famous one.
Yeah, he's
Look at
super famous.
Muriel is telling you exactly how to say it again. Crayon.
Crayon. See, Muriel, I love you for this, but literally there are just some things the Southern accent cannot do. Crayon. So
No, I did not realize that was a Southern thing that people have an issue with.
it kind of I didn't realize it was either until very, very recently. Let's see, Clint Jorgensen, any hooded Cobra Commander to color. I don't have any pages with hooded Cobra Commander scanned. I do have a coloring book that has some hooded Cobra Commander in it, but it's not a very good coloring book, so eventually it'll get scanned, but not this morning.
I feel like that's someone hinting at trying to get to talk about hooded Cobra Commander again.
Well, okay. Well, if so, I'll just say that our Cobra Commander has been circumcised. Anyway, can you draw Serpentor's head being held up by Cobra Commander in that picture, Lawrence?
I can't draw for the life of me.
Yeah, it's true. Which is weird because often punk rock skater people like do all the graffiti tagging stuff. It's like a thing, right?
So growing up, I believe I said this when I had Lenny on, and my best friend growing up, he was an amazing artist.
Yeah.
And he always wanted to draw, and he actually got me to hate drawing because of.
Oh.
And it wasn't his fault. He'd always want to draw, and I'd spend the night there, and he'd want to draw like G.I. Joe or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'd be there for like just spending all my time doing one picture. And he'd have like 20 pictures just in detail.
Yeah.
People killing each other. He was always supportive and tried helping out, but it was one of those things where it was just so stressful for me.
Yeah.
To struggle to get somewhere, and he's just like just flying across, just doing all this stuff. So,
right. So what you're saying is you felt insecure and you gave up.
I wouldn't say insecure. I didn't find it fun.
Okay, that's fair. Okay, that's fair.
I can't remember ever feeling insecure. If that sounds,
okay,
if you can believe that.
Yeah, I could believe that. It's possible. It's a thing. It happens. You know, there are a lot of things that happen in this world that, you know, I believe that sound illogical or accurate, but hey, you know.
A lot of people say I was really different before my mom passed away. And I was like this really happy-go-lucky kid. And if anyone doesn't know, my mom passed away when I was 13. So.
Oh no. It's pretty young.
Yeah, and it was out of nowhere. She wasn't sick, just came home, said she didn't feel good, had a heart attack.
Oh no.
And that was it. And we were really close.
Yeah.
And, you know, people ask, well, hey, you know, why are you straight edge? And why have you never drank, done drugs? And it all comes down to, you know, I promised my mom that I would never do that. And as a kid, you know, you make those promises, and they're silly, stupid little promises. But, you know, you just, for me, I was an adult at 13. Sounds kind of weird. My dad had more than enough worries now with a 6-year-old daughter. now he has to figure out. He worked afternoons on the assembly line, and that was going to take his toll on him. And
Yeah.
I was just like, you know what? I'm going to ride my skateboard. And I had no reason to do drugs or drink. At that time, I had already actually kind of found some, punk rock.
Yeah.
I had no idea what straight edge was. So I'm not going to try to be that like, oh, I was already straight edge. I had no idea what it was. But I watched, a lot of these kids that were drinking, and I would watch the turmoil and heartache it actually put on their parents, just wondering where they were and everything. So it was just something I never did. And then as you get older and you're in the scene and you're friends with other guys that are straight edge and stuff like that, you don't do it.
Right.
So as you get older and you hit 20 and 21 and you realize, why would I want to do this now?
Right. No, that's fair.
Matter of fact, not last week, a few weeks ago, I was over my ex's sister-in-law's house. I went to pick up my daughter over there, and they had a wedding shower, and they asked if I'd run over and grab some alcohol. And I was like, you know what? I don't think I've ever bought alcohol in my entire life.
Oh, wow.
And someone went with me, and she bought the alcohol. So I guess I still haven't. But it did seem kind of odd to me that I was trying to think. I'm like, I've really never bought it. Because I've really never hung out with people that drink. Well, I mean, I hung out with people that drink, but everyone knows that I don't. So, but if you're like 21, 22, 23, 30, 40, you're like, why? If I haven't drank it now, why would I even start?
Well, yeah, and I mean, a lot of the reason a lot of people drink is for social reasons. So if you don't have, if that's not part of how you socialize, like it doesn't seem like it's something you would suddenly pick up.
No, and believe me, an old friend of mine that he was also straight edge.
Yeah.
He was like, it's a good thing we don't drink. And I'm like, oh, well, thanks. Yeah. But why are you saying that? He's like, because we get so deep into stuff. We have very addictive personalities.
Yeah.
We would have to be the best drinkers ever. And we would be total alcoholics. And I went, I never once looked at it that way, but you are absolutely 100% correct.
Oh, yeah. There's a reason back whenever, I am not straight edge, have never been so, but there are certain things I would not do just because I could tell that it was something I would enjoy, and nobody wants to go out like the lead singer of Stone Temple Pilots. So you just don't do those things.
You would think people don't want to go out, but man, sure seems like a lot of people do.
There's some people who have like it sounds really cliche to call it a death wish, but there are just some people who are so unhappy or so confused or whatever that they just want to be numb, and I don't think they actually are thinking it through, or they don't realize how bad it would be, and they just do it anyway because they don't actually have the capacity to really be concerned about it because they are so messed up about something. You get, I'm sure seen people who maybe are straight edge, but still they take all the unnecessary risks, and
they're still destructive.
Yeah, there's just some people who are self-destructive, and it's and there are reasons for it, but I certainly am not somebody who can resist all things. I think my toy collection would indicate that there are places where I probably I exceed what would be considered the normal standard of things. But at least it's not something that will take me out like the Stone Temple Pilots guy. So You know. And that's also way more expensive than toys over time. So
There's also other ways to take yourself out, like marrying Courtney Love. Yes, I still believe she killed him. Um,
I believe she didn't help him. Um, but I think if she had actually killed him, she would have been arrested because um, Kurt Cobain was sort of like Seattle's golden boy. Um, Even though he was like, I mean, like he was huge. He was like bragging rights. If she had actually killed him, I feel like the city of Seattle would have gone after her on principle if there had been enough evidence, or
well,
an easy way to manufacture the evidence. I don't think I know somebody who knows her. Um, Let me put it this way: she didn't help him, but she certainly wasn't the one. Like I feel like he did do that to himself, but she didn't help. Like it's that thing where it's like if you, there's a recent case where a girl, like her boyfriend, took himself out and she got sentenced to prison because she basically sort of encouraged it. And they basically, so I think it's sort of one of those things. I think they had a lot of fights. And I think she said something really offhanded or maybe something on purpose, knowing the state he was in. And then,
a woman saying things offhand, like, "Oh yeah, that never happens."
anyway, I mean, especially when you're both on heroin, you're both a mess. I mean, it's not like he was, he wouldn't have been much better off without her. Like, but I think a
It's
lot
kind of
of
like
it,
Sid and Nancy.
yeah, it's that sort of thing where it's, oh, I mean, we found out much later though. He didn't actually, I mean, the current belief is he didn't actually kill her. It was an accidental thing.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like,
Yeah,
what I'm saying is they were going down that road
they
with or
were.
without each other.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think it helped. And I think she certainly made it easier for that to happen. But I don't think in 1992, I think the conspiracy part of it is that he was, for Generation X and the millennials sort of old enough to be into that. He was such a hero to us that, like, it's a lot easier to accept that his horrible wife killed him than he was so miserable when on the outside he had everything to live for. Like everything that we were sort of told was like the goal in the 90s. Like he's creating art on his terms. It's like the music. He was
Yeah,
unhappy and angsty. He struggled, but at the same time, he was still getting to make music and getting money for it. So,
I also said you don't want to hear my. I don't like the guy. I don't like Nirvana. I do want to say thank you to everyone that is saying that they enjoyed the Lenny interview.
yeah,
Um,
no,
it was a lot of fun, and that was a 2.5 hour interview. Him and I sat for 5 hours, so you can imagine the amount of other things that we spoke about.
all right. Once the streaming's
Um,
over,
we spoke about a lot of different things that I can't speak to,
yep,
um, and a lot of things that even before I spoke to him, if you watch the stuff that I've said, it pretty much all lines up. It just
yeah,
kind of got confirmed. But thank you. I really did enjoy it. And most people, at least people in the community that watch, that stick around, realize it wasn't about Hasbro. It's about getting to know him, just like when I had you on. Although he did smash your record of having the most.
like it's unfortunate, but I will say, if my record is going to be smashed, at least it's by like a toy celebrity type, right?
Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to be touching that anytime soon. At least not anyone that I'm going to have on.
Right.
Um, but yeah, but there were some people that were still seem to be upset about it. Still, people asking about the hooded Cobra Commander. That it's like, listen, I didn't ask that for a specific reason because
Yeah.
I've given you the reason why we're not getting it, and it's not my opinion. It's all right there. People just don't want to believe it.
Well, that's
But
also. Oh,
But I did tell him, I said, listen, I think Hasbro hangs you guys out to dry for not allowing you guys to answer certain questions that
right.
people, even though they can find the answer by doing a quick Google search, you know, by not allowing you guys to answer it, it leaves the speculation. There's a guy he's mentioned now a couple of times that he called Hasbro, and Hasbro told him that it's going to come. Listen, I don't know who you spoke to, and I'm not saying the Hooded Cobra Commander will never come, but until one exec at Hasbro finally says, listen, that is a stupid reason we don't have him, enough with that. We're not going to get him. It got in the wrong person's mind, and that's how it is right now.
Right. My expectation is also that at some point, even that executive, if there's ever a point where I know that like sort of Hasbro has probably done a few sort of exclusive type things, but they don't really seem to be all that really exclusive. But I would assume at some point that would be, I don't think we will see it in retail within the next 5 to 10 years because there's just too much around it. You know, but I would expect like some sort of stretch goal at some point, or false exclusive or something like that. Like,
well, see, this is what was told to me by someone who wasn't now this was told to me. This was actually told to me after I had done the video, like quite some time after I'd done the video. I was on a live stream, and it had one of the former G.I. Joe execs on. So if you really want to figure out who it is, it's not that hard to figure out. I haven't been on many other people's live streams.
Right.
He told us backstage, he said, and he told the exact same story that Bobby Valla had told, because I believe in that video, I put the link to Bobby's video that he did.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about it. And it basically turns out like the Bonaventure said it, and it got into the heads at people up top at Hasbro. Not so much the G.I. Joe people. And the Bonaventure even admitted that I'm the one that said it. That's the reason why we're probably not having it. And I think it just seeped into too many people's minds that they can't do it. And I just think that they get hung out to dry because they're not allowed to say, listen, we cannot make this. It has been an edict put down. But since Hasbro is a corporation, and unlike somewhere like, let's say, Valaverse, Boss Fight Studios, or Four Horsemen, where, it's privately owned, McFarlane, we probably released 4 Batman since we started.
At least.
They just can't. They can't do it, and it's bad because that question will continue to come up. Interviewers will continue to be hounded on why they didn't ask the question. Well, the reason why no one asked the question is because they're told they can't answer it. So why continue to go through it? All you're going to do is ruin your relationship to get any type of interviews with these people, to ask any types of questions. Now, I do believe there are a lot of people asking softball questions, and I really don't think I'd want to be part of that.
Yeah.
Because I'd rather do the research, have interviews and a common talking ground with someone like Lenny or whoever else. Or if I can't answer the questions, what's the use of being in an interview with them?
Right. Well, and I also like it. I don't think a lot of people also don't necessarily get when you interview somebody from Hasbro that has a job, that has responsibilities,
it is their livelihood.
Yeah, and not only that, but in my experience, there's a little, before anything starts getting recorded, before anything goes live, so here's what we can and can't talk about, and I'm just gonna say I can't talk about that if you ask. There's no point in asking that question, because then you're just being rude to somebody who's giving you their time and energy.
Exactly.
They could be talking to somebody who will, and people are like, oh, well, that makes you a shill. It's like, Not really, because you're not selling a company line. You're just not talking about something they're not going to talk about.
And something they've already warned you not to talk about.
And it's, again, it's not necessarily even they don't want to talk about it. I would assume a lot of these people would love to talk about this stuff because they understand how the engagement works. And the other thing I will say, for anyone who gets all uppity about that sort of thing, there are a lot of companies, i.e. Mattel is a good example, where their execs aren't allowed to interact in any way with anyone that, like YouTuber, what, like, Geek Dad Life has the they're
Geek
like,
show. You mean Geek Show Life?
yeah, right. That, like they work with, quote unquote, work with Mattel, but like that's, I mean, not like Jay hasn't ever really gone into the specific detail. I know somebody who, you know, I know somebody, and the way that, I'll finish sharpening that. The way that sort of thing works is literally like with Mattel, you don't talk to Mattel executives. There's a marketing person who contacts you that's marketing in charge of influencers. Like, they're like, hey, here's some stuff that we could send
Yep.
you to review. What do you want? That's you don't talk to anybody who actually, if they show up at like San Diego Comic Con or they go to a convention at that point. But if you were to even try to, you can't even contact them. It goes through their marketing people, the media management, and they just, no, they don't do that stuff. If they
And the
do,
other thing,
it's
the other
rare.
thing is, if you really don't think Lenny would love to say, listen, we can't fucking talk about Hooded Cobra Commander.
Right?
We can't make him. We can't talk about it. It's been handed down. Stop asking us. Why wouldn't he want to say that? That's
right.
What's crazy. It's like, we don't want this question. We can't talk about it.
Right.
And I was talking to somebody, and I said, I said, I don't think I'd want to do. I told him, I'm like, I wouldn't want to do a review where I can't ask questions, right? But at the same time, I also understand everyone gets mad at Hasbro about the stuff or Lenny, but it's like, if you talk to the designer of the Corvette, he's not going to bash GM. He's not going to bash other designers in GM for making a car that doesn't look as good.
Yeah.
Or let's say if a part isn't done properly and there's something defective, he's going to let you know, hey, we're working on it, this, and that.
Yeah.
And it drives me nuts, but at the same time, I do understand why people want answers.
I get it, but at this point, it's really obvious they're not going to answer that question, and it just, again, it feels rude. And you're also shutting off an avenue. Like, there are things that they can and will talk about, and I personally would much rather talk to somebody about what they can talk about
Exactly.
than what they can't. And it's like, I don't. Yeah, and especially sort of toy tube, like what it's none of us are none of us are actual reporters. None of us have journalism degrees. There's nothing, we're not approaching it ethically the way you should be taught that's a spiel.
Yeah.
That's a whole rant of mine for another day about how journalism has declined across the board over the last 20 years. But like, none of us are that. There are a lot of people on YouTube who want to, like, and all parts of YouTube and all, like YouTube and color tube and, like the beauty tube and, like makeup and the commentary people like that, sit there and watch other people's videos and then make commentary on it. All the drama video, like all of those, like I mean, there are a few who are probably real journalists, but for the most part, all these people who are running around, I'm a reporter. Not really. Like, none of what you're doing actually fits the definition of reporting.
No, and again, so much of it comes down to, it's like, this is their livelihood.
Yep.
This is, Dwight from Marvel. This is his livelihood. This is Lenny's livelihood. Emily, who is doing multiple things.
No.
The Transformers guys. Again, you may not like what they're doing. And again, if they act a certain way, it's one thing. But to sit there and like want to get them and then ambush them on a stream, well, it's not going to do any good for you, except for you're going to get some wonderful views for a short bit.
Right.
But then people are going to go, dude, you know what? You were a dick,
But
and
even
I
if
don't attack you for your job like this.
Right.
You know, so why do you think that it's okay to attack someone else?
Right. It's like, we don't come to the street corner and knock that dick out of your mouth. So you don't interrupt what we're doing, and we won't interrupt your job. So yeah.
Well, it kind of reminds me of this. Actually, we talked about this backstage, where I was like, I don't know if you're into football, but there was that, and I know you're not, but there was that Peyton Manning, like all these Peyton Manning videos where he's now in the stage, or I'm sorry, like in the stadium, or he's behind the meat counter, and he's like, cut that meat, and he's like belligerent all the people, basically letting them know. Now, I think athletes are a little bit different. You can boo them, you can cheer them. You still have no right to throw personal things their way, you know.
Yeah. Really quick, I'm going to answer Clint's question. That's not Zartan Clint. That's Gene Simmons from Kiss. So. He was made for loving you.
So, speaking of Gene Simmons,
yeah.
Have you ever seen the movie Runaway with Tom Selleck?
Way back in the day.
So my mom loved Tom Selleck.
Did she?
Oh, yeah. Which is really odd. And again, I was only 13, so
yeah.
My mom loved Hall & Oates, which I love.
Is responsible for much goodness. Like, I can't go for that. No can do. Classic.
And now this would have been right, this would have been right towards when she passed away. Yeah. She loved Rick Astley. So when his hits come on, like when those two songs come on, if I'm in the car, like that channel does not get changed. There's actually two things that like my dad put in her casket. Now my dad is like, I listen to 60s music, 50s and 60s. Right. He never listened to anything new other than Rock Me Amadeus. For some odd reason, he really liked that song. I doubt he remembers that he liked it. But so he loved that song.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Yeah, but my mom loved Tom Selleck, so I had seen Runaway so many times. Little spider, spider robots and everything. But
Gene Simmons really had that like big 80s like man perm for that movie too.
And what a perfect villain! I mean, can you say much more?
Typecast.
Yeah, it's a typecast.
You didn't even have to act for this one.
Yeah, that's what I was going for. He was typecast.
Gene Simmons couldn't act his way into a paper bag, much less out of one. And now he and James Woods are into a fight right now because they're both standing on each other's dick outside of that bag.
Who's James Wood?
Exactly.
Okay.
He's this terrible actor that I throw down with. Well, not anymore, not since he blocks me. But like he and I just have this tumultuous Twitter. Well, it's X now because Grimes' ex-boyfriend.
I'm sorry. It's Twitter.
Grimes' ex-boyfriend changed the name of the platform to what I call him. I feel like he's trolling me. But anyway, James Woods, right? And like he said something stupid one day on Twitter because people say stupid stuff on there. Oh, and I replied to him very simply, like, wow, you couldn't act your way into a paper bag, much less out of one. Didn't block me. So, and every so often I would be like, he would tweet something and I would just reply like, wow, still not working, I see. And then this is what got me blocked. I'm like, one day he just was James Woodsy enough of it, and I replied, wow, how does it feel to be out-acted by Sean Young in The Boost? And then I put Sean Young, the worst actress ever. That's what got me blocked. It probably doesn't help that she stalked him at one point and there were restraining orders and whatnot, but whatever, James. Whatever, James Woods.
What has he been in?
He was in the Boost with Sean Young, and she out-acted him. He was in God, what was he in? He was in Cat's Eyes, like the Stephen King thing with Drew Barrymore in it. I know
So
he was in a. I know he was in like something famous. Like he has to have been. He can't just James. Like what was he in? Like he's so insignificant that I've forgotten his body of work. But I'm gonna Google it real quick.
So Clint says that toy fans expect toy tubers to ask tougher questions to Hasbro than people expect the press to question politicians. So I used to run a Detroit sports media, a Detroit sports message board, and I got to know some of the people at the radio station. And what you're saying applies so directly to sports media. And these people in Detroit, especially with the Detroit Lions. Now, again, if you don't know anything about sports, the Detroit Lions have been the absolute worst professional franchise in many, many years. Now,
They
they're doing
can't be
pretty.
worse because the Wizards still exist.
What are the Lizards?
The DC Wizards.
No, they're worse than the Wizards.
Are they?
You mean the
Okay.
Bullets? Oh yeah.
Is that their name now? Okay.
The Washington Wizards. They used to be the Bullets.
Oh, okay.
Then they changed it because DC was like the murder capital of the world. So the Lions have been awful, and that's actually being nice. They've won one playoff game since 1957. I don't even know how that's possible. They had Barry Sanders, the greatest running back of all time, but people wanted them to sell the team, and they would sit there and they would call in and say, "Why won't any of you ask why they won't sell the team?" Well, they're not going to sell the team because they're billionaires.
Right.
And they're like, why would we ask this question? We know they're not going to. They know you want them to. But at the same time, you keep filling up this stadium. And the moment you own an NFL team, you're making money.
I love that. Like, I can just picture all the owners of the team, like, sitting in the boardroom. Marge and Harv down on 7th Avenue want us to sell. So I guess we better do it. The people are broken.
That's exactly it. Yes. And mind you, the people that own so this also gets how stupid people are. So the Fords own the Lions.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, it wasn't the Fords don't own Ford Motor Company. As a matter of fact, the one that owned the Lions, pretty much his daddy bought it for him, so he would just stay out of the business of everything.
Yeah.
And when you see how bad he ran the Lions before he passed away, but no one ever said he was a bad owner.
Right.
He just didn't care. He didn't have to win, you know. Well, yes, Magnum is from Detroit. That's why he always wore the Detroit hat. So I think that might have been another reason why my mom loved Tom Selleck.
I mean, that's a good reason.
But people will be like, you know what? We need to stop buying Ford cars till they sell the team. And the people on the radio would be like, you realize, like, he has nothing to do with it. Right. Yes, it's called Ford Field since it's his name. They are a sponsor of them because, I mean, they still do own a huge stock in them. A matter of fact, his son he's one of the main board members on Ford, but he still didn't make any decisions with the Lions. So much so that when his dad died and his wife was running it, the son always wanted to run the Lions. She handed it over to her daughter, which I don't think went over too well. But with that said, they actually do look like a real team now. So I'm happy for all those fans that have suffered with this putrid organization for so long.
We love that.
But that's where I learned a lot of this stuff. And I mean, again, all it takes is just sitting back and having some common sense to realize, like, badgering these people into doing something that they're not going to do if the journalists went in there and badgered them, they'd stop having any type of access to them, and then you would never get questions answered.
Right.
So in the end, it's better to ask questions that you know they'll answer rather than stuff just to piss them off because, well, it makes you, the fan, happy. So,
Right. I'm just wondering, like, has Cobra Commander always had this prominent of the moose knuckle in the front, or is this just like bad art?
where he has what?
His moose knuckle, like in his crotch.
Um,
I mean, it's quite the bulge. We know Coco
well,
is not
maybe
happy.
that's why so many of his crotches broke out as a kid. He was just that big down there. Maybe he's like Tommy Lee.
They did turn him into a snake.
No, they did not. That was the cartoon. He does not exist in real life.
No, I'm pretty sure I watched that a lot of times. It had
Yeah,
Cobra
again.
Law, which is the best G.I. Joe thing ever.
Yeah. And this live stream is over.
It's interesting you think that. But yeah, cool.
I absolutely hate Cobra Law.
Cobra la 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 la. There you go.
I mean, and not even Mickey could make that a good idea. You know?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. It was
I mean,
fun.
maybe had Rocky shown up and, you know, gave some speech at the end where if I can get along and you can get along and we can all get along, then maybe it'd be good. But
Maybe it could have been a crossover episode with the Get Along Gang. You remember the Get Along Gang, right?
no, I don't. I remember the name, but I don't really remember
You don't
them.
remember Montgomery the Moose?
No.
Oh my god, you'll have to Google it later. It's one of those weird 80s lines that could only happen in the 80s. There's like a dog in a cheerleader outfit, and Montgomery has like a varsity sweater, and yeah, it's why we have furries. That and Care Bears.
I love Care Bears.
I bet.
My ex was so shocked that I knew so much about Care Bears, that they come from Care-a-Lot and they have the Care Bear cousins.
Yeah. Care Bear stare.
But funny story about the Care Bears. I think I told this on one of my streams. Was and this is why I go back to collectors should not have kids. I truly do believe that. And because we have this idea that everything has to be completed.
Yeah.
So there were they came out with Care Bears for my stepdaughter. They were all they were was the original Care Bears, just they re-released them. And they were, from what I know, only sold at Walgreens. I think there was like 9 of them.
When did Walgreens turn into like an exclusive place? Like, because when I was a kid, Walgreens was the last place you would buy toys.
Well, okay, so this would have been a long time ago. I mean, this would have been before I had kids. So we're talking 18, 19 years ago, before we had kids together. But your answer is somebody said that the purchaser at Walgreens was a big toy fan, but he left.
Okay.
He left. That's why they got all these exclusives.
That's cool.
But I'm with you, because if I remember correctly, what used to be Perry Drugs, which became Rite Aid, and Arbor Drugs, which became CVS. Yeah. You go look at their toys, and they're like 3 times more expensive.
Yeah.
For the most part, they're just hoping that mom and dad are on vacation and little Johnny is screaming and bitching about getting a toy so much that they're just like, you know what, just get something.
Right.
So
I just remember the Walgreens where I grew up was where you would get the weird toys like the Masters of the Universe action figure erasers and it was like 1989 and you wanted a Superpowers Joker where it's like and the bubble had been stapled back on 7 times. That was what you got at Walgreens. I always thought that was chintzy as a kid when you would go to the store and somebody had stapled the bubble back on. It's like, really?
I'm with you, and you're right. Not even as an adult, but as a kid, you're looking at it going. Even though you're not an inbox, collector as a kid, I'm I'm assuming you're not.
I
But
was not. No.
the joy is opening them up.
Mm-hmm.
You just have this huge joy that I'm going to open up this toy. I think Ted Darklaw from Hello Dope Toys, he talks about like the packaging, and he's like, listen, even if you're going to open it up, you want to have that feeling of opening it up as a kid.
Yeah.
And I'm with him 100% on that. Like that should just be one of those things where it's like, you know what, this is how it should be.
Right.
So yeah, the whole stapling thing, that drives me nuts. Because
We always do that when I was little and we lived in Texas, right? Like when Star Wars came out, the Gibsons, like some asshat was always opening the figures, and there would just always be like 2 or 3 of them like with bubbles stapled back on, and it's just like that Death Squad commander doesn't even have a gun, sir. The gun is gone. And you're trying to sell that at $1.99 like it's complete like the others, as if. That Death Squad commander sat there forever. The only reason it cracks me up though when people talk about like Star Wars peg warmers. Like, yeah, R5D4 was a peg warmer. Sir, there were no peg warmers when those figures came out. Like the only peg warmers were the ones with the bubbles stapled back on because nobody wanted that cheap ass shit. That wasn't even on sale. If they had marked it down a little bit, people would have bought it. But no.
Mural, the Baroness looks happier because she probably just came from Destro's quarters. And Zartan probably had to watch. So
oh yeah, I'm sure
it's probably a reason.
It's probably why Zartan is like giggly or whatever. He looks happy for Zartan because he's not much fun at parties. He's all like gets a couple drinks in him and he's like, watch, I can blend into the wall. I'm like, please, sir, blend into the wall outside.
Giraffe, I wish DC wasn't wearing pants in that picture. Like he forgot to put them on, and the Baroness and Zartan are too scared to say anything. Or maybe that's the reason why the Baroness is so happy, and Zartan's like, oh, Destro's not going to be happy about this.
Right? Zartan's just like, I'm going to ruin that butt later. Oh, Zartan and Coco, like, got some strange going on in the middle of the night. I mean, just listen to, like, yeah. Their bantering is very much, it's very Sam and Diane from Cheers, but with old dudes in a cartoon. So it's like when Christy Alley joined Cheers and like she was into Sam. It's like, look, the 2 old people are gonna find love together. And then it was like nobody loves Christy Alley, so
I love Christy Alley. I love Christy Alley.
So not
fat Christy Alley.
You don't use that word anymore, Lauren.
I'm sorry, not overweight.
We can make fun of her. No, we can't. That's intolerant.
Listen, no one's off.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, she did. I mean, like she did make her whole shtick that she was a fat actress. So maybe you can call her fat Christy Elliott. It's fine.
She's dead.
She identified as the fat actress. So
well, she's dead. She ain't gonna complain.
I'm gonna respect whatever she chose to identify as, even though she was a Scientologist, and they're not allowed to do that.
So one of the things with Cheers that I liked when they brought Kirstie Alley in was she wasn't Diane. Like they didn't try and remake Diane. I actually just watched on YouTube. It was like it's an 80s thing. This guy does all kinds of 80s shows.
Yeah.
talks about the 80s, 70s shows. But he was talking about Three's Company and their biggest mistake when they replaced
Chrissy was
Suzanne
Cindy.
Summers was they brought in a cousin that was the exact same person.
Jenna Lee Harris.
Yeah. But then when they brought in, what was the other girl's name?
Terry.
No. Terry was not. Terry was smart. She was successful. And it created a better. It was something different. So you didn't have to do the whole thing. Tony, you're allowed to color. Just we're not going to let you color with us on stream.
Yep. Next time, Tony. Next time.
So the Baroness is just black.
Yeah.
She has a red cobra symbol. I'm looking at like the clasps and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's just nothing.
Well, really quick. There's a quote unquote trick for that. Let's see.
So that's why I like highlighting everything because I like to do it darker.
Yeah.
This goes back to even being as a kid, but I even used to like. This is weird. And I did here till I started coloring stuff in. I used to like to highlight everything, the color, and then leave it like that. And let your imagination fill everything else in.
Yeah.
Also, probably because I didn't have patience.
Right.
It could be that too. It could be that too.
There's that. That's a thing that definitely sounds like you. So, yeah. So,
I have issues.
Obviously. I mean, it's clear. We've all watched you for 3 hours on the internet every Monday.
Well, who really has the issues? The person talking for 3 hours or the people that watch me for 3 hours?
Well, I technically only listen, so I'm fine. Because it's like I just need something to listen to when I do my shit.
Well, the truth is there really that much to see? I mean, I guess sometimes if you're looking at some of the slides that I'm pulling up, but for the most part,
before it kicks you off the internet.
Yeah, well, that shit happens from time to time.
StreamYard.
I feel that people tune in to hear what I have to say and hear my little jabs that I take at people, or I don't want to say at people, at different things that are going on, just to hear how I go off course on stuff for no reason.
Yeah.
Here's little stories that I throw in. Listen, there are a lot of YouTubers out there, toy tubers, that, in my opinion, are just, well, I think they're boring. And that's fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. You want to give the information. Hey, this is the news, this, and that. That's not something that interests me. And I do believe that's the reason why so many people have started to tune into what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And again, I've said this before. If I sat there and went, oh, I didn't realize that the show is getting popular. Oh, this is so shocking. Listen, I see my analytic numbers.
Yeah.
I see how much, my channel has grown. And I read the comments, so I hear what people have to say.
Yeah.
Yes, no politics. F you.
There's always some dirtbag who wants to talk about politics. It's like, sir, there's other channels for that.
So here's the other thing that you guys have to understand at times. This Monday was very, very, I went off because there was politics talks going on, and I'm going off. Well, when my moderator, Matthew, deletes something, it doesn't delete for me. So I think the conversation's still going. So there were people that are like, what the hell are you talking about? Now, other people that may have moderated or done streams before, they know what's going on. They understand, like, oh, like he can still see it. Yeah. That's probably why he's still on this rant about it. But I don't want politics. I've said this before. If I wanted politics, I would probably have a much, much better or bigger show. Yeah. Because we could do that. But I don't want to talk politics. No one needs to know if I vote Democrat, if I vote Republican, or if I think they're both assholes. I think they're both assholes. And I know that sometimes will offend people, but the one thing Matthew's told me before is like, hey, because I get stuff from the conservatives that send me on Instagram. I get stuff from the liberals that send me stuff.
It's
And
true.
Matthew's always told me, if you're getting stuff from both, that's good. That means they don't know where you stand. That means you're not pushing one agenda one way or another.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty good. Yeah. Yeah, I think I've sent you stuff, but I don't know.
And the thing is, I laugh about both of them.
Right?
I've had people that are mad at me because I make a Trump joke and they get all mad about it. Well, conversely, they must have missed when I made the Biden joke because the guy can't walk up steps or
Right.
know who he's supposed to shake hands with or know where he's at right now.
Right.
I mean, I literally mean in real time, he doesn't know where he's at.
Right.
That's not my fault.
It's not really. It's not. It's
And,
just yeah. No. It's like
and at the
whenever
same time, I'll say this. Listen, do you realize how much you had to be hated for us to vote in a guy that we know has dementia and Alzheimer's and it's really bad? So don't be mad at us if your party lost or your party won. So
yeah, no, that's fair.
I feel like am I insulting everyone? I hope I'm insulting everyone.
Probably everyone is insulted. That's great.
It's good because that's how it should be.
Oz agrees. And Muriel, we love Muriel. She's my best friend.
Hey, listen. There's enough toy politics that we don't have to get into real politics if we really want to get into it.
And Muriel mentioned this. And Muriel, that is eventually my grand scheme. So, and just sort of starting out in the beginning, it's just more about getting people to come on here and have everyone do different stuff, which is why Lawrence is using Crayolas. Because I want people to realize you can use Crayolas. I mean, yeah, I use fancy adult art, expensive pencils and whatnot, but
I like using crayons.
Crayons. Don't, yeah. Like nobody wants me to accidentally slip into my Louisiana stuff. Like nobody. It's bad. You know, like.
Well, I thought you wanted to use crayons, or else I would have probably found my daughter's pencils.
Yeah, you said, can I use them? And I'm like, of course you can use them. I want you to use different stuff. Like, and this is one of the, this is sort of one of my, and it's also because I used to be this person, but I also didn't do art for a long time because of these kind of people, you know, kind of person I used to be, where it's like, oh, you cannot, it's only creative, it's only artistic if you're using this, like crayons, no. And it's really stupid and it's really limiting because in general, everybody's a happier person if they're creating something. And yeah, maybe you're not the person drawing what we're coloring.
Yeah.
You know, like you're just coloring it, but there's like, you know, like there are a lot of people, if you are ever curious, like I recommend Googling Chris Chang color along, and she is like, what she can do with colored pencils is epic.
But you know what? That's the same with people that do photography, with like action figure photography. They're not creating the figures.
No,
they are bringing those figures to life.
You know, and it's like the way I'm going to color this is different how you're going to color it, and it's like, so it's always going to be a little different. And I think a lot of people, I personally believe that, and
I personally believe that some people in America don't have maps, and that's why we have to help the people in the Asians, such as, please tell me you know that.
Okay, so like right now, the Surgeon General says that there's too much violence on TV, and that should stop. But even if you took all the violence out of the TV shows that we watch, you could still see violence on the news. So until we can become a more peaceful society where there's no violence on television, there's no point in taking it out of the shows that need it for entertainment value.
But do you know what I'm talking about?
You're talking about that poor beauty queen who got up and knocked out of herself. Then went on the Amazing Race to try to prove she was smart and did not accomplish that.
Oh no, she did. Oh, I didn't know that because I don't watch
Yeah,
that.
she went on the Amazing Race and like it was a thing and people started realizing who she was. And like they were kind of mean to her and I wanted to feel bad for her, but she wasn't really smart enough to realize they were being mean to her. So.
Yeah, Jim Rome plays that all the time. Again, I like sports. Jim Rome plays that all the time. And when he goes on his rants about that, and then he's like, you know, you thought she was done murdering the English language and that bell was ringing, but she was not stopping. She just kept going and going.
Well, here's the thing. Like, it's really possible in a situation like that to sort of freeze up and lock up and, like, stumble all over yourself. But that's not what happened. Because afterwards, when she was doing interviews to try to explain it, it wasn't any better. When she was on the Amazing Race, it was not, like, any better. So that wasn't just nerves.
Yeah.
He often had, like I've certainly...
Well, you know what? You've seen the people that go out to throw out like the first pitch of a baseball game.
Yeah,
they know how to throw it. They've done it before.
Everyone's
and then they go to throw it, and somehow it goes to first base.
No.
It goes completely out of whack. And it's one of those things where it's like they know what they were doing. They just kind of got stage fright. But let's see. You were talking about Miss Teen South Carolina and the mask question. Yes. Such as. But the bell rang for her to stop talking, and she couldn't stop. She just kept going and going. I mean, it was a prize fighter that just lost it, and he just kept pummeling the guy after he won. They couldn't pull her off the English language. Oh, well.
She was what a poacher is to a baby seal to the American language. And that we can make fun of horrible people doing horrible things to seals, right? Or no, is that not allowed?
I don't care.
I apologize to any baby seals watching this stream. We were laughing at you, not with you. And that's bad and such.
Have you ever seen it pops up on Instagram for me all the time. It's the seal that gets on the boat when there's an orca outside of it. And the lady's like, you need to get off. You need to get off. He's like, I ain't going in there. I ain't going in there. I ain't going in that water.
I'm not. It sounds awesome.
So somehow there's a killer whale out there. And she's on her boat.
Christy Alley?
What, Christy? Oh, that was just mean.
It was really mean. I apologize.
I would high five you if you were in the same room as me.
I apologize to Christy Alley. And oh wait, they don't believe in heaven. Never mind. Never mind. I'm sorry.
So there's this baby. Next time it pops up, and I'm guarantee it I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
So this baby seal, and not even a seal, and what I believe it's the lady telling the seal to get off, but then someone like overdubs the seal like talking, going, "I ain't getting in that water. I ain't getting in that water." She's like, "Where'd you even come from? Where'd you even come from? Get off here! Get off here!" Because the whale's now circling the boat, like waiting for the seal, and the seal's like, "Hell no, I ain't going in that water." Like, I don't stand a chance.
Oh, poor seal.
But we never see the final outcome.
No.
I mean, I think I would have just taken off, like gotten the hell out of there.
I think if I were the seal, I would have waited for her to get closer and then knocked her in. And then while she was being eaten, I would have escaped.
Well, you know, those killer whales, they couldn't care about those boats for the most part.
Yeah.
They're just doing their own business, man.
They're just hungry.
And I'd like to say right now, just give a shout out to everyone that is watching my buzzer video. Woohoo! I finally got a Bees Battleground video to go crazy right now.
Nice.
So So I've been waiting on the buzzer to come in from BBTS.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be a Friday, but you know how FedEx is.
Yeah.
So it came in today. I'm like, all right, of course. I'm going on with Brick at 7:30 tonight.
Yeah, that's accurate.
So I don't have a lot of time. I still have other things to do in my life, you know?
Yeah.
And then this is coming. So, all right. So my ex stopped to pick up my son for some family thing.
Yeah.
She came in. We got one of those discussions / arguments over things. Nothing like we're fighting that much. And I could see FedEx pull in to my neighborhood. I'm like, all right, you guys need to leave anyway. And my daughter knew exactly what it was.
Right.
My ex is like, what? She's like, FedEx just came. I can see my daughter. And she's like, no, I told you to do that. I'm like, dude, okay, I don't care. I'll do it later. Just whatever. Just get out. I need to do this.
Go. Don't turn around. Keep going. Don't make me break up that Ace of Base song.
You got the boy. Now get out of here.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, Clint said, I was 10 minutes behind real time. You know what? That is anytime I watch a live stream, I'm so, before I make certain comments, if I haven't been making a comment in a while, I go ahead and I look to make sure that I'm caught up, because I'm always worried that I'll be like super far behind, especially on some of the bigger streams when there's 100 things going at the same time. So, all right. Now, what color should I use for the face, for the berries?
What colors do you have?
I have 64 crayon colors.
Okay. Do you have like cream or off-white?
Cream. I don't know if I have cream.
It'd be like it'd be like an off-white color.
I have
Not
peach.
quite yellow, but sort of.
I always remember using peach. So I have white.
I just wanted to have a flat color face. That's fine.
So I have white.
Okay. No, that would. Yeah, but she's not white.
No, that's why I was looking at peach. But isn't
Yeah.
peach too?
Peach would be close, you know. Like.
Yeah. Although if I remember correctly, and I should because I was again redoing the G.I. Joe room. Got to get ready for my video for this year.
Yeah.
But I've run out of room in the G.I. Joe room. And that's only my 1/18 stuff. That has nothing to do with my classified and 6-inch stuff, which is all throughout the living room. I have issues. That's what happens when you're single. You can put your toys wherever the hell you want. And only your kids can judge you. Well, everyone can judge you. But no one can make you stop.
Okay. I think that sounds accurate to your life.
But I have should not have colored the inside of her mouth dark. That's gonna bother me now.
Oh, we have a visitor. Little one, what's up? Come here. Let's say hello to the internet. Yeah, look. You're on the big screen now. So see, look, there you are.
Wow.
There you go, buddy. Oh, you're going to run now. You were all about jumping up here until you were on TV. Mm-hmm. I'm going to turn into one of those Hollywood scream moms that... Look, Tanya, just skate even though you broke your leg.
Hey, that happened here in Michigan.
I know. That's
Joe Louis Arena, which is no longer there.
Why?
We're really asking the question. I think we know why.
I'm just going to say it takes a lot of self-reflection to realize you're at best second best and that you're never going to get there alone on your talents. You need to sort of even it up and you do it.
And it's not like she wasn't good. It's not like Tanya wasn't.
I just did not like her because she was trailer park. It's
well,
like, you guys are the worst.
She sure didn't help that situation.
Well, it's true. Like when you marry a dude who's, Jeff Galooly, Most absolutely. He's still here somewhere here in the Portland area, allegedly, but he's changed his last name.
There have been a lot of things with Tanya. Again, Jim Rome gets all these 911 phone calls.
Mm.
And there is one with Tanya and her new boyfriend. Now, it wouldn't be her new boyfriend now. I doubt they're even together anymore. But he calls in. This guy calls 911, and they're arguing. And he's like, she hit me with this. And he's like, and you can hear her in the background yelling. And he's like, you're a convict and a felon. So come on over, officers.
Nice. When I first moved up here, because at the time she still lived here, I found out what her favorite bar was to go to, and I went like every night for a couple months trying to meet her.
Tanya?
Yep, I would love to be her friend. Like, she's that friend where you're like, you start out at the bar, you've had a couple drinks. Well, I mean, you're straight edge, so you wouldn't know this. But you can imagine this. Like,
yeah, I get what you're saying.
you show up at the bar, you have a couple shots. She's like, oh, we should do tequila. And you're like, no, Tanya, you know how crazy we get on tequila. She's like, just one. And then 17 later, you don't know what happened. And then you wake up and you've lost 3 days. You're in Vegas and there's some dude in your tub and both of his kidneys are on the floor. And like, you're both covered in blood. And you're like, oh no. And she's like, but they gave us the money anyway. And yeah, so.
Your dreams are way different than mine, and the friends that you seek are way different than the types of friends I want to meet.
I want to be friends with like cool people, like like.
I do too. I like ones that don't try and take kidneys though.
Well,
Don't get me wrong. Taking out knees are fine.
So like, I was also trying to take the kidney. I think I was whacked out for 3 days. Who knows what happened? Maybe we just got there and he was already there with kidneys on the floor and we just made money off of it. I don't know.
Oh, I've talked to you enough to know that you'd be one taking the kidney.
Probably. But if I don't remember it, like, good luck proving it in a court of law. Because they would just go like, well, Tanya Harding was there. And you'd be like, oh my God, Tanya, I will not betray you. And then you're like, I will totally turn state's evidence. She did it all. All of it. And then I go visit her in prison and try to get her like one of those whatchamacallit, those things that you use to like saw through bars and stuff. A saw, is that it? Like a hacksaw or whatever. Anyway, I would make it. Yeah, a file. I would make it into like some banana bread or something because I always buy bananas and then forget to eat all of them, and like 2 or 3 of them go really bad. Like, say I just make some banana bread and try to get her out. I mean, she's a good person. She just made some mistakes. It's not like she's evil or anything. She's not like Moby or Lena Dunham. Like,
Well, I don't know. I mean, you did come up with a plan, whether it was your idea or not, to take out someone's leg because you thought it'd be easier to win. And you still didn't win. That's what's even worse.
Yeah, well, that's all because of like her skate snapping. The shoestring thing on her skate like snapped, and then like she cried. Oh, and she is an ugly crier. Like, not as bad as Claire Danes on that Homefront or whatever, where she's like apparently the best anti-terrorist in the world, but she doesn't know she ugly cries. Homefront,
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Like Claire Danes, there's like some TV show that was like on Showtime. Muriel, are you still there? Muriel knows what that show is. Exactly. Tanya is the ride or die. If anyone knows what that Claire Danes show is, where she ugly cries, but she's like an anti-terrorist specialist person in DC and she's sleeping with the enemy or whatever. I watched it once. She ugly cried. I'm like, I'm out. Give me Angela Chase from My So-Called Life. That's my Claire Danes. Yes.
Oh, God, I hate that show.
I love that show. But she has been coasting on my ambivalence toward her because of how much I love that show for way too long. And she ugly cried and it was ugly. Like, you're an actress and you're good, like, and you can't do something about that ugly. Like, it's not more compelling as an actor. Like, I'm not more compelled by your performance because you ugly cry. especially when you look like a hamster who just bit into like a giant turd while somebody like kicked you in the head. Like that's what her ugly cry looks like. So anyway. And she's so pretty, so it's like it's even worse that she does the ugly cry when she's an attractive person. Like I don't know.
Claire Danes.
Yeah, she's pretty, Lawrence. Oh, as if she would come up to you in a bar and she's like, "I think you're hot. Let's date." And you would be all over that and talking about how hot she
Dude,
is.
I haven't seriously dated anyone in almost 8 years.
Exactly. So you would be
I,
all over that. You would be like, "Claire Danes, yes." And
I just never found her like super attractive. I'm not saying she's ugly,
yeah.
but I've never seen her as like.
Well, I don't think I mean, she's not attractive enough for me to consider bisexuality, but she's attractive.
So who is hot enough for you to considering being bisexual? Since you brought it up.
It's more of a vibe, so like Martha Stewart. But anyway, let's move on.
Really? Like, because she was in prison?
After prison, Martha's pretty kind of hot. Like, she was so cool about it. You didn't expect Martha Stewart to come out of prison and be cool. Like, she was not cool before prison, and afterwards, she's super cool.
I would definitely give you that. Like, you do not expect to find out, like, she has an actual friendship with Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, right. They're actually friends. That's not like some weird thing. Like, they just befriended. Like, she was horrible before, but it was like she got rehabilitated into somebody I can like. So. But she's also, yeah, so. Like,
so I've always been, like, my ex always found it funny. So I'm like, listen, dude, I'm well secure with my sexuality that I can look at someone and look at a guy and tell you if I think they're good looking.
Yeah.
And I always said, David Boreanaz is one hot motherfucker.
Angel,
all right?
Yeah.
What?
Angel, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I ain't gay, but man, that motherfucker's hot. My ex always found that hilarious.
Well, you know.
I'm like, it doesn't change anything about me, but I'm just telling you, man.
Right? Well, and it's not like it would ever happen, so you don't actually have to.
Well, there is that too.
I mean, Claire Danes might approach you in a bar, but David, no. Like, Angel is off, like, yeah. No, anyway. Homeland. Yes. Thank you, Muriel. Homeland.
I've never watched Homeland, but I know it.
Exactly. She looks like a Simpsons character when they face directly front. Mm-hmm. Especially when she cries.
That's kind of mean, but
it's not mean. Muriel is a very loving person. Like if she says that, it means it's true. So.
Listen, some things are true that are mean, and listen, I'm not one to judge Muriel, so I don't need to worry about that. All right. I am not one that will be mad.
No. You're definitely, not somebody who would judge that. So you're good. Okay, with taking out the knees, he from Detroit or Chicago? Yeah, both. Yep, that's true. I'm just going to hide all of those because so, yeah, I don't know. And also, though, imagine like the dinners Martha Stewart would make. Like you would have a really kick-ass breakfast the next day. Like she would go to her chicken coop in the backyard, get 6 eggs, and take the yolk out of all of them to make like the best omelet ever. She would season it with salt. She made herself like with the ice pick. Again. And the paper towels would be something she pressed in the basement while you were in a shower. So like it would be like a really full service sort of situation. So, and the towels are clean, and she's got all the good soap. So,
I think my issue with Martha Stewart is she reminded me of Murphy Brown, and I never liked Murphy Brown. I never liked the actress.
Oh. Have you ever seen the old Saturday Night Live sketch with Murphy Brown and Gilda Radner for the Right to Extreme Stupidity League?
No, I've never been a big Saturday Night Live fan. I've never really sat down and watched it. Although I did watch the opening monologue, and that dude that was banging the one Pete Davidson. That dude is not funny. I mean, not only is he ugly, he's not funny. What do people find like good about him? Like he did a whole opening monologue and it wasn't funny at all.
Okay, so this is going to be hard. It was hard for me too because I once asked this question and somebody was really honest with me and it was hard. But since we're old, it's just over our heads. Like he's for young people. Young people love him, they get him, and I love that for them. Because that means I don't have to get it, and like, because I don't want to get it, because it's not funny. So
that's what I'm saying. Like, there was nothing funny about what he was.
Yeah, but the kids find him funny. Like I mean, like I don't know. I can't speak for either of your kids, but I know a couple kids who are like 25 and younger who are just like, oh my god, he's the best. So it's just generational. It's like it's like how German people like David Hasselhoff. The young people just love Pete Davidson.
David Hasselhoff is awesome.
I once house sat for somebody and they had that poster of him in those little tiny red shorts and all oiled up and glistening, and it was on their bathroom wall right above the toilet, so that when you were sitting on the toilet, you were looking right at David Hasselhoff's glistening chest and his little red shorts and his little happy trail from the belly button. And I was like, okay, maybe I see it a little bit, but also like, it's not the kind of place you want David Hasselhoff watching what you're doing while you're sitting in the bathroom. There's just some people you don't need the Hass.
I think the other thing about David Hasselhoff that actually kind of makes him relatable, even though he's kind of a drunk,
a little bit, yeah,
is that he kind of gets the joke now.
Yeah, he realizes he's also a joke. So
that's what makes Chuck Norris so awesome, is that he gets the joke.
Right.
Which, to be honest, Chuck Norris really never was a joke.
Yeah, he just had that weird meme where like he was like overinflated or whatever.
Yeah, but it's not like he did it,
Right.
But he's embraced the joke from Dodgeball, which oddly enough, so was David Hasselhoff.
Yeah.
Where they were both in it. But it is one of those things where it's like when you get the joke, when you embrace where you came from, Evil Dead, you look at Bruce Campbell and he embraces being Ash from Evil Dead, right?
Yeah.
You enjoy stuff like that because someone can enjoy it.
Yeah.
Ricky Schroeder can't stand being called Ricky. It's Rick Schroeder. No, dude, you're fucking Ricky Schroeder. Fucking deal with it. You're a millionaire. You'll survive, right?
Yeah, but he's not really a millionaire, so.
What?
He's not really a millionaire. He lost a lot of his money.
Hello. I saw the train through his house.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. But we all know that the toy industry is dead.
Oh, that's true.
Dad's Toyline died last April.
But again, like, you revitalize your career. If you're into like, a perfect example is Mark Paul Goslett. Is that right? Mark.
Yeah.
From Saved by the Bell. He does a whole, and I don't know if it's still going on. He was doing a whole podcast where they started rewatching Saved by the Bell.
Yeah.
And then he would talk about, they would do an episode every week, right? And he's like, I really don't remember doing these. He's like, I remember bits and pieces, but everything was such a blur back then.
Yeah.
And he remembers certain things, and they talk to the other cast members, and they're the same way. And the fact that he like is embracing it because he knows so many people love it.
Yeah.
Where other people can't stand it. Where I believe the dude from Better Off Dead,
John Cusack?
yes, does not like talking about, is it Better Off Dead or One Crazy Summer? Like, he doesn't like talking about it. And it's like, why?
Especially because that's why most people love him enough to like, for him to do all these boring movies that he does.
Yeah. I mean, the Better Off Dead is such an iconic movie.
Oh, yeah.
And you have to enjoy it. And I always tell it, like, people that don't embrace where they came from, I don't have any time for that. Like those types of people, because it's like that made you.
Oh yeah.
Um,
My phone just died. So
you what?
I said my phone just died. So I have to replace the phone real quick.
Oh,
I did that stream that I can't talk about yet this morning.
I know about it.
You
Just
know
like
about it.
all the secret things that Lenny told me.
Oh, I bet.
Like he told me everything that's coming out through 2028.
Excellent.
He told me what wave Hooded Cobra Commander is coming out and how they're going to do it black, a red, and a blue Hooded Cobra Commander. Okay, listen. Before this goes out and people start like, "Oh my God, you."
That's not what happened, kids.
Yeah.
That's not what happened. There we go. Oh, wait, that's fine. There we go.
But like I said, I talked to him for a long time. And again, there's certain things that I'm not allowed to talk about. Right. And he's actually really good about like, hey, it's not just Emily that is shutting him up. He knows like he just can't talk about certain things. But just know that a lot of things that I've talked about before I ever talked to him is very true. And that's just knowing industry, not even knowing like the toy industry, just understanding how the toy, how industries work.
Yeah.
Like budgets. People have such a hard time with understanding that G.I. Joe is not $1 billion company. It's a $1 million property owned by $1 billion company.
Yeah, right. And then it's like, why can't they do this? They did this. It's like, because that toy line is selling a lot of toys. Like your budget is dictated by how much you sell. It's not dictated by how much Transformers sold or whatever. Like, yeah, that's one of the things that often confuses me when they're like, well, they should be able to do that. They make all, it's like, but that property doesn't make all that money. Budgets are dictated by your department's property, or your department's profits. And if you're not making them, you're not going to get as much to work with. So I don't.
And I expect that from a kid. I expect when I was a kid going, why can't they make this figure? Why can't they make that figure? But to understand, and I used to, and people, I argue with people, you look at, again, Detroit sports. The Illiches, who own Motor City Casino, they own the Detroit Tigers, they own the Detroit Red Wings. They also own Little Squeezers Pizza.
Yeah.
And people are like, they own Little Caesars. They're $1 billion. Why can't they just pay for these players? Well, you don't go into your profits in Little Caesars to take money out to put it into your baseball team because you want to get a specific free agent.
Well, especially when everyone in the world could wake up tomorrow and realize how trash that pizza is and be like, God, what have we been eating all these years? And then they just stop.
But you know what? They used to be $5. Now I think they're $6.
Yeah.
It's easy. It's better than a DiGiorno. You're in, you're out. And if you get it when it's cooked properly, it does taste good for their pizza. But I'm never going to tell you that it's good pizza.
I had a friend who worked there. They mixed the pizza sauce in a giant trash bag in a giant trash can. And so, it was all clean and it was the sauce trash can, but it's a trash can for the sauce. So it's like the visual of it.
Do people remember the pizza? How you got 2 pizzas?
Yeah,
and it came in that bag that just sat on top of it.
Yeah,
and they just sat on top of it and got all greasy.
Grease spot. Yeah, my mom went through a phase where every day when she was on her way back from town, she didn't feel like cooking, and she would get like 2 of the 2, the big. Oh my God. Yeah, I can't even really look at Little Caesars without remembering 10th grade and being nauseous and wanting to throw up pepperoni. So
yeah, the pepperoni is actually pretty spicy. That's why somebody asked me on my stream a few weeks ago. They were like, "Is Jet's Pizza really that good?" Right. And I was like, "It is the best chain pizza that you're gonna find." Now it's based out of Detroit, but it is. I mean, I eat it way too much because it's super easy.
Yeah.
Amiro is right. The crazy bread is yum, especially if there's a lot of the butter and everything thrown on it.
Oh, wait. Okay, well, we like that person. His pizza's still trash, but at least he's cool.
Yes. So you can say what you want about Mike Ilitch, who passed away. Now he paid. Not only did he pay it, he didn't tell people. Like
Nice.
it's not like he was like, "Oh, this is what I'm doing." He just paid it. So there's a lot that you can say about the Illiches,
Yeah.
about their pizza. A lot of people are unhappy because they don't think they've done enough for Detroit because
Wait, what is their last name?
Illich.
Oh, yeah. Their son was in the Slumber Party Massacre Part 2 as the hillbilly psycho killer guy. Okay. Now I know who they are.
They have one son that is like a
Hyannis. Yeah.
drug addict.
Oh, is that him?
I don't know if that's him, but they do have one that's a drug addict, and the other two are like, they have 3 kids, I think. I don't know. All of them are very successful, other than the one who has a lot of issues.
Yeah. Hyannis didn't really make it big in music or Hollywood because Slumber Party Massacre 2 is his one role as the driller killer. But
Oh my god, I have seen Driller Killer.
yeah, he's not the that's a different movie, but they both call him Driller Killer.
I just remember Driller Killer because we used to go looking for bad movies.
Yeah.
And we saw Driller Killer and we're like, we got to watch this. If I remember correctly, it was absolutely horrible and horrendous to even watch.
The Driller Killer one, yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
It was way more of an art film than it was an actual slasher. Which, but the Slumber Party Massacre Part 1 and 2 fixed that. So those are actually two. Well, the first one is one of my favorite all-time slashers of forever. Like when not the last, because the last time I moved was when I moved in with Matt. But the time before that, when I moved, I had only had the one DVD for the Slumber Party Massacre easily accessible. So when I hooked up my DVD player, I just watched that on repeat like for 4 days until I finally got other DVDs. And then still was too lazy to change the DVD, so I just watched it for another 2 weeks over and over. It would end and then it would just start again. So it's a good movie. I enjoy it.
Clint, Detroit style pizza is way like if people don't know what Detroit style is, it's not deep dish. A lot of people say square deep dish pizza. That's not it. It's they put the cheese on, then they put like the sauce on, and they put the condiments on top of it. And it is deep dish, but it's kind of like Chicago style has its own, but it is really underrated. Now I eat a lot of pizza because I'm on the road all the time, and well, it's easier to stop and get pizza than a lot of other things. That's why I'm so fat.
That's a good question, Clint. Probably not, but I think I think there were black olives on them sometimes.
Oh no! Little Caesars has everything. A matter of fact, if you order the Little Caesars with ham, it's usually the shredded ham.
Yeah,
it tastes way better. The Little Caesars, that pepperoni, at least here in Michigan, and I'm assuming it's probably the same everywhere. It's just way too spicy, in my opinion. Yeah. It's good at times, but even if you pick it off, it just kind of sticks with you. And I don't have a problem with spice, but it has a spice kick that I could live without.
Yeah,
all the time. But they do have other toppings, believe me.
I don't mind spice. Like grew up in Louisiana, like
yeah.
I don't. My memory is that it was weird spicy, like not in a way you like. There's a certain spice I expect from pepperoni, and it never felt like it was that level of spice. It always felt.
It's really, really strong.
Yeah, it's really. It didn't feel appropriate. So the inappropriateness of it all. But yeah, so But yeah, they at least had mushrooms and black olives.
Yeah, I like getting it with ham. I think the ham is really good. Can't believe we're talking about Little Caesars.
I know. Right?
Of all the pizza, we're talking about Little Squeezers.
Oh, the places you'll go.
Yes. But I mean, I eat it way more than you might imagine because it is. Put it this way: there is one on every corner here in Michigan. But it's almost. I mean, it's almost always decent.
Yeah.
Just always go in there and say, "Hey, can I get a hot and ready? Can I get your I can't even think of it. Hot and ready. That's the freshest hot and ready that you have.
Yeah.
Because if there's one that's been sitting in there and that the sauce starts drying and everything, you're just like, all right, you know what? This is just awful. Now I'm regretting my decision to come here, which I was already.
Yeah, it's good. You know, like, well, this is why it's art, Lawrence, because you're opening yourself up. It's uncomfortable. You're not sure what's happening, but it's art, so you just have to roll with it or something. I don't know. You know.
So I want to run this by. I want to run this by you. We've talked about a few things, and I was going to announce it tomorrow, but so I have decided for the channel members. We were talking about like what can I do for channel members, and Alice was actually one of the people I was talking to because, well, she's a channel member, and she says,
"Smart."
Yeah, she sends me a bunch of things, and I'm like, hey, let me call you because I don't want to just poo-poo all this stuff, but I have reasons why certain things don't work. And one of the things was like doing after dark. But like she said, a lot of what you do, like you're already telling everyone everything. You're pretty open about everything. Not to mention I can't do an after dark on Monday because I have to work in the morning.
You would have to go 17 hours instead of just 6.
Yes. So I have decided what I'm going to start doing really soon is that on at least one Friday night a month, a channel member only stream where anyone that's a channel member is able to join if they want to.
Nice.
Obviously up to what, 10 people, 9 people? So I don't think there'll be a huge like one like topic, let's say.
Yeah.
But I thought that would be pretty good, and I'm going to do it later on, probably 10. So I'm not just completely. I know a lot of channel members and a lot of people that watch the channel are also watching Pains, and also it's only going to be once, and it's kind of the same thing that Oz is doing every Saturday, but this would just be for the channel members. Obviously, not everyone would be able to get on all the time. But I think there would be a good group of people, and we can just kind of chat and bullshit about different things.
Sounds good. That's
and there are some other things that I'm more open to talking about, even though all it takes is for one person to say, "Hey, guess what this person said?" But even though I don't say everything that's on my mind, I wouldn't back away from anything that I ever say.
Right.
So I think I was going to call it Punk's Clubhouse.
There you go. That's original.
Punk's Clubhouse, not on Saturday nights and not for free.
Right? Pay to play Clubhouse Friday.
Yes. Just kidding, Oz. I'm not going to steal your thing. But again, and I'm only going to do it once a month right now.
You should give it a super cheesy name that makes it sound like you're trying to be hip. Like,
I'm sure whatever I will name it, it will be pretty cheesy, considering that's pretty much how my life goes.
Punk's Nacho Cabana this Friday night. Bring your own nachos and cabana.
And again, it's one of those things where we can run late, since a lot of people don't have to work Saturday morning. And again, if it's just once a week, and I'm going to start once a month, I mean.
Yeah.
But again, I've been trying to figure out other things to do for channel members. I spend so much time in this chair as it is, that it just, it is very difficult. And I think you'll get to learn the same thing.
Oh yeah.
Call it Punk and Brew. Punk's Brew and Stir. I kind of like Punk and Brew. Like black and blue. Yeah. But again, it's going to be for the channel members. But I'll send out invitations, to anyone that is interested. I'm not just going to send out invitations. You kind of got to let me know. Or if you're someone like you, Tony, I might let Tony, Matthew. Well, actually, Matthew can join anytime.
Who's that person always trying to get onto your streams?
That would be Travis.
Travis.
that would be Travis.
Is he a channel member?
No.
Well, this might be how you get him to become one.
You
want to get on stream once a month?
I should probably go check my messages. Considering I just put the buzzer video up, Travis is probably flipping out because I got it before him.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, Bees Battleground doesn't care.
He seems
okay, so listen, the Playhouse thing, guys, was a joke because that is what that's what Oz has called his thing.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good name for it.
Listen, that's gonna be a private stream that none of you guys will need to be part of.
Active Reds.
There's a lot of blue in here.
Although Tony will be there because Tony's always there, right, Tony?
Tony really. So I don't think this is anything secret. Tony really, really likes the format of Oz's channel that he does.
Yeah.
He's just like, it's just so much fun. Like, there's no stress on it. It's just like everyone, like not everyone's talking at the same time, but everyone's just like shooting the shit back and forth. And I'm like, dude, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I really wish some other people who have a format would kind of look at that and be like, all right, I really think when you have too many people on a stream, it's hard to talk specific topics. And I've said that forever. I think 4 is good. Like 4 is the max for me. Because you're waiting. And there's a lot of other big YouTubers that, I know they get around and they do a good job. It's just for me, I don't want to. I just think sometimes it's too much. This is my own personal opinion. And with Oz's stuff, it's just everyone has a say. No one is staying on topic. You get on a topic of Mythic Legions, and Oz all of a sudden he's pulling it up, and now you're talking about the topic. But you didn't have like this show rundown. And for me, like doing my show, it's me. I can do whatever I want. So it doesn't take much. Just this is the topic that we're doing. I don't have to get everyone's input on it.
Right.
You guys are communicating mostly, for the most part, in the chat, which really makes the channel go. Because without you guys in the chat just going back and forth and having a conversation, it would be listening to me getting bored out of, I would assume, get bored out of your mind. Right. I know I would be bored out of my mind.
I think it's boring fast.
What?
I said it would get boring fast.
Yeah, the chat is so integral to everything with my channel that I do.
Yeah.
So I definitely try and, I'm glad that everyone there has found that common ground to sit there and just kind of, no, Clint, no. Fuck ICP. Sorry.
No.
Sorry.
Are they still around? I thought they were.
A matter of fact, I just saw something. A matter of fact, I started watching a stream with one of the guys. Now, they did a wonderful... No, but their wrestling promotion used to be really fun. I will give them that. But I was watching something. God, they were on a podcast, the bigger one. Is it Violent J? And I listened to about 10 minutes of it, and I'm like, you are an idiot. Like, I cannot stand to listen to your voice or how you try and articulate stuff. You just don't sound like a very bright man.
Right.
But I saw them at St. Andrews Hall for their wrestling promotion. Now, St. Andrews Hall, in my opinion, is the absolute best place to see a concert. It is a hall. It is where I saw Sick of It All, my first concert, where I've seen Bad Religion and Pennywise and so many bands.
It's a pretty good first.
It is a great sound, and it is small, like a hall should be. Like if you have not seen a concert in a hall, you've only seen it in arenas, you are missing out. And they put on a wrestling promotion, and there's not a lot of room.
Yeah.
And they had this steel cage, and I'll tell you what, this was before they were in WCW and the WWF. They put on a hell of a show. The other thing that they did, and I wish I could think of the name of it, was they put out 2 different wrestling videos. And it's of old matches, bloody, brutal matches. And they do commentary over it.
Yeah.
And it is absolutely hilarious. Because they're going back and forth. And you always got like the one, I want to say it was Violent J. He's like, that's it. I'm going in the ring. And the guy's like, no, you can't. He's holding him back. You know, he's like trying to hold him back. You know, obviously he can't go because this is all old shit.
Right.
But they changed the name.
Yeah.
Ponderosa and Swedenhouse, because there's these 2 fat guys fighting. The Ponderosa and Swedenhouse. So if you know what a Ponderosa is, in a Swedenhouse, and you kind of get that. But God, what the hell was the name of it? It's gonna drive me nuts. I was just trying to talk. I was talking to someone about it not too long ago. I still couldn't remember it, and then it came to me. Well, again, I forget a lot of things. Which, if you watch my streams, you'll realize that I forget things all the time. So, you know, you're right with crayons. It is really hard to get these little tiny spots here.
Yeah, it can be, but it's doable. I mean, that's what they originally intended people to color in this stuff with. I just decided to get all bougie and like, let's. You know.
I'm just looking at the stuff in the back here, and I'm like, you know what? It's supposed to be colorful and different lights and stuff going on in the background.
I was never that kid who would go in and like color stuff weird. I always tried to color it exactly the way it was made.
Yeah.
And I sometimes wish it had been a little bit more like that, but
you know what though? That's funny that you bring that up because this is same topic, but the same thing but different. Who I think was it? When I talked to Usual Mike, I don't know if it was Usual Mike. It was someone else, or someone, and we were talking about like toys when we were, you know, growing up and everything. And they said they never saw the Star Wars movies. And I said, that was actually probably better for you to play because I know with me, playing Star Wars, I always felt I had to play the exact movie over and over and over. And it became less fun, in my opinion, because of that.
Yeah.
Where if you never saw Star Wars, you could do whatever you wanted. G.I. Joe, yeah, you read the comic, but there was all these different things you could do. Superheroes the same way. So I can understand what you're saying. How I brought up the figures here so I could color them to be pretty close. So I understand exactly what you're saying about that.
Right.
Because it would bother me if someone handed this to me and Cobra Commander was green.
Oh God.
I would be like, yeah, that's not what his color is.
I couldn't honestly remember Zartan's colors exactly, so it's close, but I tried not to. And normally we go look it up and use a reference. And
he was this like burgundy and black, but his chest piece is different on this because they made it clear.
Yeah, it was like clear.
And I was trying to remember what color he changed to when he was outside. I don't think I've taken this figure outside in many years.
Yeah, it was like a green
color change him. All right. So, gotta find a. What color walls do you think Cobra Commander would have in the Terrordrome? I should know. I have one. Um,
So, and you're on the dam. What is that? Oh, the dam ambulance. Okay, there you go.
oh,
Clear was white and clear in the comics. Huh, there you go.
you know, I was just gonna tell you, Tony. My one of my local stores just got Serpentor. I know you said you'd been waiting for him, so
Yeah,
could have picked them up for you, but sounds like you got them. So,
there you go.
and by the time we sent it from Detroit to Arizona, yeah, I got everything else light gray. That's why I was like I did the computers light gray, and that's I'm like, ugh. And if I do blue, then it blends too much in with Cobra Commander.
Right.
So,
I just did mine in red and gold.
oh, you know, gold's not a bad one.
Yeah, it's not bad. And it stands out a little bit without being unrealistic looking. I haven't used Crayola coloring pencils for a while, so I'm not as pleased with this as I normally would be, but it's coming out pretty good. So I'm not going to complain. Publicly, to myself, yes.
I'm trying to think the last time I actually just colored a picture. I mean, it would have to be when my kids were.
Yeah, that's
and I always hated like coloring the pictures with my kids because I didn't want to like take a picture of theirs, you know, taking something away.
Yeah.
Although not like I couldn't go buy a another $2 coloring book.
Right.
But I always felt bad if I like colored a picture that they, you know, that they didn't want. Or if you were coloring like, this is where I was bad. If I was coloring like, there's like 2 pages and they're coloring one page and you're coloring the other. And, you know, they're done in like 2 minutes. And you're like, yeah, we still got some time here.
Right. My mom
Danny's just finished outlining stuff.
When we would get good coloring books, my mother would like, don't color this page. I want to color that. So I would color that picture. Because it was my book. I don't care who bought it for me.
Yeah.
It was always the one I wanted as well, so I think she just had issues. I mean, not like wire hanger, mom, and dearest issues.
Yeah. Mommy dearest, is that what you said?
Yeah. She
That's
hated
so
when I
funny.
would call her that. Mommy dearest. Don't call me that. I'm not terrible like that. If you want a terrible mom, I'll show you a terrible mom.
Did I tell you about my my ex's mother just passed away?
No.
So my ex's mother just passed away. I've never met her. My ex hadn't talked to her in well before we met. So before, probably since '99, she probably hasn't talked to her. My ex's her brother passed away. He was the only one that had talked to her. Well, he was the last one to talk to her, and he hadn't talked to her since shortly after I had met her.
Yeah.
And so they sent a message to her through their half sister that no one talks to either. They just never knew her. My ex did for a bit, but she caused some drama with my ex. And they reached out to her and said, "Hey, just so you know, just let your mother know that Carrie passed away. And if for some odd reason, now she lived like 3 or 4 hours away. If for some odd reason she thinks she's going to come to the funeral, she's not welcome." Like this, how bad of a woman she is, right?
Jeez.
So my ex has been waiting for her to pass away, so hopefully she could get these pictures back, because she kept all the pictures. Like she has all the pictures, and I won't even go into. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I don't know that the mother did.
Yeah.
She's a horrible person. I think around like 11:30 at night or something like that, I forget, I get a text from my ex saying, Mother Dearest died last night at like 8:30 or something like that.
Oh,
Literally, Mother Dearest.
well, at least she's honest.
Oh, I messaged her, said, hey, how are you doing? I know you don't really like her. He's like, I don't care. I just want my pictures back. So I talked to her and I was like, hey, how are you really doing? And she's like, I don't care. I just want my pictures back. I'm like, okay. Like, I knew you don't like her, and there's a lot of reasons to it. She's just an awful, awful person. But to know that she had 4 kids from my ex's dad, that none of them talked to her.
Yeah.
One played professional baseball. Can you imagine knowing your son plays professional baseball, and that, like, if he comes out on TV, like, you wouldn't be like, oh, hey, that's my son. You'd be so damn proud. But here's a woman that, even if she told people that, they'd be like, yeah, sure, right? How come you don't ever talk to him? So, but
Or they would just be like, sure, Jan, and then behind your back, she crazy.
Yeah, well, she was crazy. But yeah, like, when she sent that to me, I was just like, hey, you're okay? And but sure enough, man, it's just like, I'm looking at my picture and through my camera, and it looks like I didn't color anything. Like, when it's down here.
No, it's really light. It's partly the lighting on your phone. Wait, no, that looks good.
Just the camera. I don't know. Like, I got to once I get a new computer and everything, I'm going to upgrade the computer.
Oh, yeah.
Upgrade everything. I know I keep saying that. I'm still waiting on my boss to give me the computer. But
hurry up, Carl. Lawrence needs the computer.
Well, it's just sitting there waiting.
Right.
He just has to hook up. He has to hook up the new computer to the receptionist desk.
Yeah.
And then wipe it and hand it over to me. But he's like, I got other things going. I'm like, hey, dude, I'm not trying to bash you. I'm just asking. Hey, do you know when? I'm like, believe me, I know you have more important things going on than me. me wanting to live stream.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Okay. Tony, yeah, definitely. It happens. I've got fancy lights that people can't see, so. I've got a ring light over here, and then I've got a different one over there. So, are you done?
Let's see, there is color to it.
Yeah, very good.
And I want to say it was Graph that said way, way, way further back that he needs a Superman emblem because it looks like he's flying away like Superman. I can't not see it right now.
Yeah.
I did pick up a new ring light yesterday. I was like, you know what? I really need to get one. I don't know if it changed anything.
Well, either that or somebody said throw your hands in the air like you just don't care, but he's mad, so he can't unclench. So. And there's mine. Mine is done as well. So let's.
So I'm gonna put all these crayons back.
Yeah.
Like it's I always hated when the crayons wouldn't go in properly.
Yeah, that's annoying because what I hated was the way they would have those the little subsets of like the little sub cardboard things in them, and then like
yes,
and like you would hurt your tiny little child fingers trying to get stuff in and out, and like I would always jack up my nail on it, and like then you'd have that split, and it would hurt, and it would bleed.
Give me this. A little subset.
Yep, that monster right there. The destroyer of fingers.
You know, there's probably an actual reason for it.
Yeah.
Like, if you probably looked into it, there's probably like an actual, like, well, if you did it this way.
It's a phenomenon, I'm sure. There's like an entire research group at the Crayola company researching how they can save people's fingernails and the upper finger. Okay, so that's what you do. You spend a lot of money on that stuff. Oh my goodness, kitten. I've got a kitten right behind me. Anyway.
There's one crayon that went flying. I figure. It's like these stupid G.I. Joe weapons.
So this is an important step, people. Put your tools away when you're done.
You have to clean up because you've yelled at your kids so many times to clean up. And if you don't, what kind of example are you setting? Other than do as I say, not as I do.
Well, sometimes they just need to know that you're not to be questioned. You know, because
unfortunately, in this day and age, believe me, kids feel like they can question you for anything. My son has been extremely difficult. Where my daughter, who would ever thought that a boy would be easier than a girl?
Oh, Lawrence, Kayla's here. How did it go? Show her your picture. She just finished her live stream. See, look, he colored and it looks good.
Yeah, my cameras suck. And I got this camera here. Which is like in my way. You asked about the camera. I said, well, you seem like you're in a different spot. It is a little different. It's not normally where I'm at.
Kayla had unboxing with Caitlin the collector from the UK. So that's why she's just getting here. I guess they just wrapped up. So collector Caitlin. So it went beautiful. Oh no, that was for my picture. Anyway, I hope it went well because collector Caitlin is cool, and I'm probably gonna invite her to do this sometime. So everyone's saying hello. That's great because. Because Muriel and Kayla and I are probably going to do a stream again because it was fun last time we got to hang out doing this. So, and I'm done, so I can take the sleeve off.
So, does this look more normal?
Yeah, it suddenly looks like the right place. I felt like you were in like some sort of back room and that Saul was about to grab you while we were on the stream and like want to play a game.
So I hate using the camera on the laptop for a couple reasons. First off, I got to be on the laptop looking at it, and the screen is smaller. So when I look at it, it's just way off. So like everything is smaller. But when I go to type anything, when I do go to like type anything to look anything up, now I'm trying to look over this way, trying to type, and I have to look at the keys because I cannot type properly.
Oh no!
I am way faster on a phone.
I'm not. I have like Instagram pulled up over here, and on the computer, and I will often go and type message. That's why I type so much on Instagram. It's not my.
I just have to get this back
because I can do like 130 words per minute with error. So.
You know what? So a couple years ago, it was during COVID. I stopped at my ex's house. The kids are over there. I'm talking to Susan, and Olivia's here with me. And I'm like, "What the hell is that?" And she's like, "That's your son." And I go, "He's typing?" And she's like, "Oh yeah." I'm like, "Wait a minute, what's he doing?" She's like, "He's playing Roblox using the arrow key." typing back and forth to people. I'm like, there's no way he's typing that fast. And she goes, oh my God. She's like, he's blazing fast. I'm like, and my ex can type fast because of her job and everything. And I was like, she's like, he's faster than I am. And he doesn't make a lot of errors because I heard the keys going too. And I thought he was just hitting the up and down arrows. And she goes, and I went and looked and I was like, no way. And then she's like, I'm watching him. And I'm like, he doesn't make errors. He gives the backspace when he does. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Like, I guess both kids can type fast, but he's like just blazing through it. I'm like, yeah. Well, I'm not doing that fast. I know that. Kayla says she was awesome.
Yeah. I have to go watch it on the replay. Oh my God.
But did you unbox this?
Dun, dun, dun. What is that?
This is the new buzzer that no one has. I think I was the first person to get the review out.
Oh.
Fuck you, Travis.
I haven't watched it yet, so.
Well, it literally just came out. Like, I literally finished it. I was doing this before the stream.
Yeah.
I was doing it before the stream, and I was going to have it go out at 5 o'clock, but it uploaded so quickly. Tony's laughing. It finished uploading and finished both in high definition and everything. I'm like, fuck it, I'll just send it out right now. Excellent. So I sent it out, and I have Bobby B numbers right now. B's Battleground. I won't tell him to suck it because
do it. Just do it.
No, because I talked to Bobby. He's actually happy for me.
Aw. That's very sweet, though. Like, not really.
Hey, listen. You probably don't. Have you met B before? Have you seen him before?
I don't know. Have I?
Well, he does all military stuff. He's just hands in the camera. I really didn't think he wanted to be ever on film or anything. And then I know he started showing up on Toy Kind of Mood. He's done that a few times.
Okay.
Tony, has he been anywhere else? I'm not sure if he's been anywhere else. But I'm like, oh, if he doesn't mind being on film or being on camera, ask him and I talk to him all the time. Yeah. But for the Thursday show, I started with you because you and I had interacted before. Yeah. You can carry a conversation, and then I went with Tony the second. My whole thing was it's like you have to be. I'm not talking to an avatar. Right. Chaz, I love you, man. I love you, Chaz, but I can't talk to an avatar for 2+ hours. Yeah, that's no go. But once I saw that he was on there, and it's like going through, I'm like, all right, you know what? He has a good story, in my opinion. Yeah, I think he might have an interesting story because he's like 30 years old. And he's really into like G.I. Joe and that type of stuff. And to me, it's like how like G.I. Joe should have been kind of gone by the time you were a kid. Yeah. So what is your interest in it? So, but like I love doing it with you. Like you did a wonderful job. And
yeah, no, it's that you. I asked you. I'm like, you were the first person I said, hey, what can you do? And this was your day, and then I built around it because you were the first person. I mean, other than Toy Habits and Michael will be on here. It's a little bit harder to schedule with Toy Habits, just because of all the moving pieces over on their side. And I'm going to do them separately, and then later probably both of them, because I like that. Especially with shows like Johnny and Kayla have both been on without each other, and I'm going to have them on with each other at some point. Because I like the dynamic, so, but no, like I said, you were, and Brick is going to be on next month. So basically everyone who's had me on is going to get an invite, just because, it's fun. And this was, I knew you would be fun because we would be able to talk and, I don't know. It's fun. Like,
no, I enjoyed it. Like, I think, again, there's a lot of people that you can talk to that you like and everything. But then there are people like you and I have talked on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
We've
It's
gone
true.
back and forth. We've been on other streams together.
Yep.
It's one of those things where it's like, it's not just that, you come off as pretty cool, but I don't think there's anything that I could really say that would be offensive.
It would be really hard.
You know,
There are
that's what, like, I would have to be searching for stuff to be offensive about.
you would have to be mean.
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
And
Yeah.
I can't say I gave up my mean days because,
I've given up my yeah. And also, and one of the reasons I want to do this is like, did I say that to you earlier? Was that maybe I did? I sort of, when I found out about adult coloring, I kind of made fun of it a little bit. I thought it was stupid because I was serious and into important art. And then I started doing it and I got it. I had a therapist who was like, what's good for your stress? Because I had a lot of stress. It was like adult coloring. And I kind of snickered. And then I sort of mentioned it offhand to my friend Kelly. And then was like, yeah, remember I gave you those coloring books like 3 years ago? And I was like, and I just made fun of it in front of you. So I, out of guilt, colored. I was like, wait, this is kind of fun. And then I found my old strawberry shortcake coloring books. And somebody else had given me a new Star Wars coloring book from the crappy Marvel ones where it's just like their covers in black and white. And it's like that Kylo Ren picture. Like most of them are in black. So what am I supposed to do with this, people? And then I was like, I want to color She-Ra. Like I want to go and get all the coloring books because I had them all as a kid. But I reached this point where, and another reason I'm trying to tell people just bring whatever you have to color with. Because what happened to me was I stopped coloring probably at 10 because I got really caught up in the idea I have to have the exact right things to color with. And it never happened. So, I mean, I sort of defeat that because I do have sort of a lot of color pencils and a lot of spendy ones, but I don't know. Like, they're fun. They're good. I've got what and actually I colored with Crayola today and I'm pretty happy with how it came, so it's cool. Like, I don't know. It was good. It's good for me to also use Crayola. It's like a 10, well, it was a Prime Day thing and they were like $7 for 50. I'm like, let's get it. Because I was like, and the pre-record I did this morning, somebody was like, I'm going to just use those because that's what I have at my house. And I'm like, that's cool. Let's do it. So I use my fancy
crayons, right?
No, they're colored pencils by Crayola. So not crayons. Oh, I almost got it there. I almost got it. I'll fix my southern
crayon. This is crayon. It's the crayon.
Crayon. It just sounds weird. Crayon. Sounds like when my cat wants to eat. Crown. So. Yeah.
Well, it sounded like you kept saying crowns.
Wait. Kayla, life's too short to be mean and negative all the time, and so is Lawrence. Too short.
Yes, but I like what she said. She left. See, to me, I read it as life's too short to be mean and negative. Comma all the time. See, commas. Listen, punctuation means a lot. Like when you see slow children at play. Really, all those signs say slow children at play. It's supposed to say slow, comma, children at play. But they're actually reading slow children at play. You can read that however you want. I laugh every time I see it.
Like one of them is like, it's easy pickings because they're not going to run fast. So not everyone's a marathon runner, Carl. So like, it's okay that you don't run as fast as Brittany. Brittany may live to see tomorrow, Carl, and you won't. But hey, it's not anything to be ashamed of. It's okay that you can't run very fast. Nobody's going to miss you anyway. Have a good day, Carl. Bye.
You don't need to run fast. That's what cars are for.
Yeah, right? Speaking of cars, like, this is a thing that happens. Like, one of my doctors is by this particular red light, and I take the bus and the train to get to his, so that I have that time. And every time I get, well, not every time, but frequently when I get to the stop, there's this dude, and I'm waiting, and this dude will pull up in a Miata with the top down. And every time he pulls up, he's trying to like, look how cool me and my car are. And it dies at the red light every time. And he gets stuck there for like a whole light and has to wait and try to start it again. And it's happened like 4 or 5 times at this point. And I just want to tell him, sir, it's okay. I understand you have a Miata. This is what they do. Like, like Miatas are like the Pinto of the modern car industry. So, you know, so. I mean, I'm sure right now, I sometimes wonder where he is, but then I'm like, he's at that light, stalled still. Like, yeah. So, yeah. So, anyway.
My buddy's custom says, yeah, some of us have one kidney and can't go out to Targets and look for toys. Well,
accurate.
My buddy customs, I just want to say, if you have one kidney, if you get a call from someone called Tanya and Allison, do not go out with them. Just don't even go out with them.
Don't ruin it. That's who the kidney's for.
Well, not only okay. Well, then why would you?
Because we might want to sew it in. Like you have to get needle and thread and like sew it up. So. Surgery and stuff. It's like science and magic and stuff.
I hope my buddy was listening from the beginning because right now he's like, what the hell are they talking about?
He probably wasn't, but that's okay. Like, ironically, but there is an entire, earlier in the stream, Tanya Harding kidney tangent that we went down. Yeah.
So
there we go. So Kayla's mom is trying to show off.
So wait a minute.
Look at all the things I don't have, and yet I still go places.
All right. So, I cannot believe that Kayla just brought this up. So, I told you earlier, earlier my ex came over to pick up my son. My daughter comes in, and she sees the neighbor. I live in townhouses. Yeah. So she sees the neighbor go out, and he has one of those carts, like when you break your ankle or have surgery.
Yeah.
Those little scooters. And she goes, I want one of those scooters. And I go, you want a half foot too? And she looked at me and she was like, and Susan goes, dude, he has like half foot, Olivia. And she's like, yeah, I don't want that then.
Yeah, no.
I don't know why she knows this because I've told her, because I was out cooking like last year and my neighbor, and again, really weird situation. It's the wife's boyfriend that has the 1 foot. I don't want to know. They're nasty looking people. I don't want to know anything about them. But God bless them. Do whatever you want. It's not my life. But I go out there to cook one day. He's like, hey, how are you doing? I'm like, oh, good. He's like, yeah. He's like, I'm a half foot. He goes, I'm a half foot less now. I'm like, oh, okay. And I was like, huh? He's like, yeah, I'd have my foot cut off. And then he goes into the whole story about how the dog actually accidentally clipped him and this and that. And I'm like, I'm fucking trying to make food right now. That's all I can think.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to barbecue right now and you're telling me like I don't give a shit.
That reminds me of this one time when I was in Texas at my grandparents' house, and it was when both of my grandparents still worked, so I'd go down the street to stay with Jim and Kyoko, like she would babysit. And they had kids and they would make they had to do chores all day, which was horrible. Like, who the hell makes your kids do chores? Like, mow your own damn grass. Anyway, their friend Veronica was there. I didn't like Veronica. And Veronica's, technically, there's no way she will watch this or know to watch this. But just in case, by odd chance, the algorithm stabs me in the back. Veronica, you were a bitch. Anyway, so she was arguing with one of the girls. I'm not going to name which one because, I don't know what the statute of limitations is for this. But they were getting into it while the one girl was pushing the lawnmower, and Veronica stepped in front of her. It's like, oh, no, you don't. And then the girl just picked the lawnmower up and went, don't, like that. And it bounced. And when it landed, the blade landed right on Veronica's toe, which flew right by my head. So anyway.
Ouch.
So, and I just looked at Veronica right before she started screaming, and I was like, she told you not to do that.
Did you say she told you?
She told you, TOED. She told you not to do that. So, and on that note, I think it's time we end this stream.
And Graf, no, I said the dog clipped him.
The
One of
dog.
the pit bulls clipped
No,
his.
it was the dog. A dog would be over on one of Kayla's streams.
Yes, but like I said, they have some weird. I listen. However you want to live your life, that's fine. I don't
Okay,
ask
so
questions.
God, like, if you don't want to go out, don't go out. I also was the one being all judgmental. I was just trying to defend you by saying he has one kidney, Oz. I was mocking Oz basically by saying what I said. So just so you know, I was on your side. You should not. Nobody should have to actually go to Target anyway. Thank you, Mattel. Anyway, I think I You might have misheard that. It's possible because there was no dong. So let's see. All right, we're caught up. All right. So thank you to everyone in the chat. This was informative. We learned about toes and kidneys and we colored. We colored Cobra Commander. He didn't have a hood because he's circumcised. And it was a good time. Thank you, everyone. And thank you to Lawrence, even though we'll obviously talk once the stream ends. But we'll just pretend like it's all over for everyone.
You're welcome. I appreciate it.
Night. Well, it's actually day. Lawrence, you're actually, before we go, wait, let me be official about this. So, Lawrence, where can the people find you?
Well, funny you should say that. At 7:30 p.m. today, I will be over on Brick Something's channel. So I have time to let out my dog and eat when I get off here.
You should eat. Food is good.
And then on Mondays, you can always find me 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Monday Night Toy Ramblings, where I go 3+ hours, and everyone wants me to go longer, and I go on by myself. And then every Thursday, it is either Punks on Film or Thursday with a Friend.
Aww.
And also, I'm just going to cheap plug it. I did drop the Buzzer review. But you don't have to watch it because it's already got 1,000 views in 3 hours. So that is by far the best video I've ever done.
I don't even need to like end this and go find it. I just can let the algorithm and like other people do the work for me. I'm not going to complain. Like when people are finding your stuff without me having to go push it through the algo, that's a good thing.
Hey, Grab, if I can get David Boreanaz on for a Thursday with a Friend, you damn well know I would.
If you can get him, like I want to have him over here. Like color with them. We'll color a picture. We'll find there's I have I think a Buffy adult coloring book somewhere. We'll color a picture of him in it. So you know you didn't look that good, David. I don't care what Lawrence told you. And
He's
on
hot,
that note,
dude. I don't care what you say.
He was really hot on Bones. And anyway, on that note, oh yeah, really quick, I have some stuff. Tomorrow, which is Monday, God, I hate Monday, at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I have a premiere of a 16-minute coloring video where I color She-Ra and talk a little bit more about why I'm coloring on the internet. There, in theory, are 2 other videos I'm not going to talk about in case I don't finish them. Next Saturday, I will have a pre-recorded color along that will debut, and since it's recorded and I'm about to do some thumbnails, I'll go ahead. I colored a picture of Princess Leia in honor of Carrie Fisher's birthday with my friend Emily C., who doesn't necessarily work at a toy company that has anything to do with Star Wars, but I'm not going to say she doesn't or does, you know. Anyway, so there's that, and you know, we talk. And then after that, on Saturday, there will be a live stream, and Muriel will be there, Kayla will be there, a few other guests, and we're coloring in honor of Carrie Fisher's birthday, which is Saturday. So lots of fun stuff coming. And for the Motu people who are here watching, hoping I'll say something about Motu, because the people who leave your feed come to mine. So there is some Motu stuff upcoming. So anyway, on that note, I'm Allison Choi, Retro Toy Princess. Lemon out.